Just say if you can hear us. There you go. I can see you, Jandre.
Wait, I need to accept you. Okay.
Okay.
Gaat ons.
Hello, guys.
Wait, let me just turn this off here. There we go.
Perfect.
You're
Yay.
gonna have to turn your sound. I think you might have to turn your phone sound off.
Oh, I thought it was off though. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's
so
off
I've
now.
realized you turn it off, and then as you go
And
live,
then
it switches on automatically.
it's on
so you have to-
again. Yeah. I thought I nailed it today, but yeah, next time. Okay.
How
Hello,
are you doing?
Jandre.
Yeah, hello.
I'm
Nice to be
good.
here.
I'm good. Yeah. So yeah, I love this weather, and I've actually been thinking about the changes in consumer behavior with colder weather. Something that I'm thinking about. But yeah, I'm very well. So our company turned 5, and this week I've been doing some complimentary sessions with everyone who's been following me, and it's just been amazing. I've had the most amazing discussions with entrepreneurs, and Mandy's saying it's freezing in KZN. Yeah, so how are you? What's up?
How's it, Mandy? Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, I think. Tell me about your complimentary sessions. What's the story?
Yeah, so basically, I send out an email to everyone who's on my email list, and I said to them, guys, it's our birthday, and because it's my birthday, I really want to do one-on-one sessions because I do webinars, which means I don't see people one-on-one unless they are in the social media. So it's just been amazing. So I opened up 10 spots, and it has just been incredible because I could speak to so many entrepreneurs and business owners one-on-one and really listen to what are their struggles currently with social media, with their businesses, and just give them some advice. And it's just, I've learned so much, I have to tell you. It's just been amazing.
Sometimes there's nothing better to do than to actually chat to your target market directly and find out how are things going right now and what essentially is happening in your life. What is your biggest pain points right now? Because your pain points, what you have right now, might not be the same ones that you had 6 months ago. And I think that's what really what market research is, right? So if you on the forefront of that, you've got your finger on the pulse, and if you can use these sessions to add value and at the same time get the necessary feedback that can help you improve the product or service that you offer, then that's amazing.
Yeah, I think that I think what I've learned is we are so involved in our own business and in our own product, and we want to sell people what we want to sell them. But by listening, we actually learn what they want. And we know with the online world, yes.
Sorry, my
No problem.
my whole thing just came off here on Instagram. My whole phone is. I'm gonna quickly sort this out. Ugh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah. So anyway, what I'm saying is that
look at what's happening here. Let me just show you. This is what I'm dealing with right now. Everything is falling on top of me. My computer is smashed to the ground here on its stand. This is like one of those days where nothing is going the way that you want it to go. So I'm going to put
this
you
is
there.
why I love going live because yeah, and I mean
actually let me just. Oh, now my light is bright and anyway. All right, let me just sort this out one thing at a time. Magriet, continue telling your story, please. I was actually listening.
Yeah, guys. So please do go live because this is what it is. So someone is saying that's usually my 4-year-old. Yes, you know what? I think we stress so much for going live, but I mean this is just normal, and it's actually so much fun. So yes, so understanding that when we market our product online, we need to be extremely clear. We need that clarity. It's one of the most important things is clarity, because you only get 3 seconds, and then someone scrolls. Well, when we don't listen to our ideal customer, when we don't have discussions with them, our clarity gets sort of blurred and our message gets blurred. So I think what I've learned this week talking to my customers, to my followers, is just that. what exactly is it? Now we are now in May. Now, I mean, not what was your problem in January or February, what's your problem right now? So that I can also work on the clarity of my message. And I think it's such a vital lesson for every single person in business. Maybe go out today, talk to 2 or 3 clients, ask them what they like about the business, what did they experience, how did it help them? And I'm always amazed at the feedback. Because it's sort of like someone sees you from the outside.
So
Paris
funny
is
you say
saying
that.
hi.
Hello, guys. Um, oh, sorry. I'm trying to see the comments. I can't actually see them. But
It's on
anyway,
Instagram. They're on Instagram, the ones.
hello, everybody. Finally, I think you can see me over here. And for those on streamer, you can see me over there. After this, I'll fix my setup that just decided to, basically break down and crumble down in pieces. So I was actually, thinking a lot about what you said just now about, actually going out to your target market and maybe just asking them a couple of questions, how things are going, doing some market research. You can obviously do that automatically through cool platforms like SurveyMonkey, and we've used a platform called Typeform in the past, where you would send out almost like a little bit of a form that someone can just fill in with some questions on, hey, how things are going, what are you facing right now? But that's very impersonal, and it's really not always going to give you the most objective feedback. It's just, people know it's automated, and it's not you not always get the same type of feedback from it, but it's one way to do it at scale. But yesterday I was fortunate enough to be invited to Alita, Alita from Purple Carrot.
Yes.
So she's been one of our clients for the last 2.5 years now. And her business has just been growing year on year. And she invited me to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say whether it's a secret or not. So we were basically, we were recording a bit of a podcast session that she invited me to. That's all I can say for now. But
Okay.
I think in essence, it was so nice chatting to her and getting to know her a little bit better, and also just chat about her business and learn about her current pain points and better understand what she's going through right now, because what she's going through right now as a business owner is not the same thing that she went through a year from now. So I think obviously our challenges change. The more mature we get, the more mature the business gets. And it's almost like the maturity of the founder versus the maturity of the business. That creates this unique pain point that you're always trying to solve. And it was just a very lovely discussion around, specifically these things. So it was funny that you mentioned that, because it was very contextual to an experience that I had yesterday.
Yes, and I think what you said now about the maturity of the business and the maturity of the founder, this is also, I had a discussion with someone this week that, and it's almost that concept of what got you here where you are now is not going to take you to the next level. So you need to go and see, what is it that I need to have to go to the next level. And I think we actually in that process right now, because it's almost as if in business we all go into this sort of like comfort zone, and you just where you are. And I find especially now, people, I sense a little bit of negativity, and what we don't realize is that when there's difficulty out there, when business is hard, it's not only hard for you. So, and this is a discussion I had. So you need to level up and gear up. So someone was telling me, yeah, in the past they could just post on Facebook and they just could, they could just sell their product, and they don't know what's going on now because it's not working anymore. But that is why we need to understand that things change constantly. Business change, where we are change. And we so easily go to the outside and think it's because of the economy, because of this. But remember, that is there for everyone. So it is the ones who are actually willing to say, okay, let's see, what do we need to change? What is our new direction? What is our new strategy? And then talking to your customers, talking to your ideal clients, and listening from what is it that they want. Maybe they can't afford that expensive thing now, but they can afford smaller, less expensive things. There's always a way around the problem. So that's so insightful talking to your customers.
I love what you said in the beginning. You said you need to grow up and man up. I can't now recall the exact construct of the sentence, but it's really like, oh, you need to grow up and level up. That's what you said, I think. And wow, it's so cool because that's exactly it. I think as a business owner, we often try and ignore the fact that the business is where it is because of you. The business is where it is because of who you are and what you've done. Especially if you have a small to medium sized business. Nobody else's fault. I mean, it's easy to blame everybody else, but it's usually 90% got to do with you. And someone can say, yeah, but I got screwed over by this guy. Why did it? Well, you made the decision to work with that guy. Like it's like, yeah, this is kind of like something that COVID happened. Okay, cool. But how you reacted to COVID was completely your choice. Yeah, I didn't really choose how to react because I couldn't do this. And well, yes, you still have a choice. You just took the safer choice, or you took what you made a choice which you think was safe, but it might not have been. So it's like how you interpreted the data and the choice that you made is what got you to where you are today. And I think if you start to become a bit more self-aware about who you are as a business owner, and you become more self-aware of your own faults and insecurities, and you start to work on that and you improve yourself, it's funny how your business actually start to change too, because your level of thinking, the level of relationships that you build with people, the level of decisions that you make, all these things start to change. And it starts to change for the better, as opposed to having a business that grows. Maybe let's say you go from level 0 to level 1, and maybe you go to level 2, but because you haven't grown as an individual, you're not able to keep growing the business yourself, because it's now, unfortunately, the business has outgrown you and who you are. And it's not a direct reflection of your business skills. It's also a reflection on your maturity. It's also a reflection on your emotional awareness and emotional intelligence. It's a reflection on the network that you either chose to expand or didn't choose to expand. So I think we just need to take more accountability for our businesses, and whether they are successful, and I say that in air quotes, whether they are failures, and I say that as air quotes, because it's also relative at the end of the day. You only fail when you give up. Then things start to change. It's almost like when you start to take accountability for where you are, what you have, what you don't have, things just start to change.
So I see here, Baby Boutique Online SA. It's a stunning business. You have to go and look at them. So I actually chat to her. It was Renee, if I'm not wrong, Renee. And what she says is, I learned a lot in our session. So we actually had a complimentary session. Sometimes we need to have a mind shift and think about things differently. So Renee's got an amazing business. She's an entrepreneur, and she started selling secondhand baby stuff, and it grew to actually a business where she sells, baby beds, baby cots, things like that. And it's really, it's stunning products. But she's also now at that point where she sort of needs to scale a little bit, do a little bit more marketing, maybe a little bit more ads. And I think with entrepreneurship, we so easily think that, everything is going bad. We watch the news, we watch what's going outside, and we get scared. And that clouds our mind, because people are still going to buy stuff. Money is not just going to disappear. I mean, the money is not going anywhere. So you have to ask yourself, why is, who is attracting the money? Because the money is not just going to disappear. There's still going to be money in bad economic times. You just need to figure out, what do I need to do in my business to attract that? Because we are not in the same times than when we were a year or 2 years ago. Things change. And that is what makes entrepreneurship actually so exciting, is that resilience that we need. That is not always the easiest of things. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Renee,
I think,
it's a baby boutique online. It's a stunning business.
yeah, man. So I think a comment on that is, so Renee, I think you mentioned that she said we need to think and look at things differently. I want to recommend a book. I love recommending books. I'm a bit of a
Mm.
knowledge slut, and I say that hopefully, it's in a good connotation. But in essence, there's a book called 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. So 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You
It'll
Think. It's
change
by
the
a
way you
guy
think.
called, it's by a female called, what's her name? Brianna Weist. So I've got it in my Kindle. I'm looking at my computer Kindle right now as
Mm.
I
I actually saw it
am.
on Audible, but I haven't read it.
It's I would recommend that you read it rather than listen to it, because
Listen
when
to
you listen to
it.
it you can miss a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
When you read it, you can reread those sentences, because you need to reread some of these things, because they challenge your perspective on a matter. It's like you have to go and be like,
Mm.
okay, wait, what did you just say? And it's very difficult to do with audio because it's obviously a little bit more fluid.
Mm.
It's difficult to go back to the exact point where you've lost someone. So 101 Essays That Will Change the Way That You Think is an amazing book that I've read, and I read that very early on in my journey, and it got me to just like open my mind a little bit. The other thing that you mentioned, you said like the money is not going away. I mean, a lot of people will argue, well, my money went away. Yes, it's like from an individual perspective, obviously the money is potentially going away if you want to look at it like that, but it's more got to do with the money itself as a macro is still in the system. It's just a redistribution. So it's understanding
Mm.
that probably the best way to explain is like, it's not that the money is going away. It's more got to do with the money is being redistributed. That's really what happens in a crisis, is that the money gets redistributed in some way, shape, or form in an economic crisis. And in essence, yeah, that's really what it boils down to. Is there's obviously there's, if you look at it a little bit deeper, it is actually debatable that some money does go away, because some money is just completely arbitrary and doesn't actually exist.
Mm.
For example, like a crypto coin, the valuation of a crypto coin,
Mm.
easily increases, but and then it goes bust, and you're sitting with a situation where you're going, well, where did the money go? And to the point where there's people like, what's that guy now recently? It was 3 months ago, I think. I forgot his name. Big
Mm.
guy, crypto billionaire. Where's the money? Well, somewhere we don't really know where. It's like a common, like an arbitrary value of a business, unfortunately. But if we move away from that and just think about the more tangible reality that we live in a daily basis, then it's more got to do with the distribution of money. And you need to ask yourself, who who's now got the potential to actually invest in the services or products that I can actually sell. And if there's really, really nobody that you can think of, then you just need to think about doing something differently. Perhaps we've had businesses come through our doors who sold specific products and services, and then it would turn out that it's just not that easy to do in the climate that we're in. And that client would pause, and the client would
Mm.
come back with a new business 3 months later, and they would do
Mm.
exceptionally well. Because what the
Mm.
founder did was, the founder went and said, this is not working. Let me go and find something else. Let me go and actually find a product and attach a market to it that's actually got, the ability to buy, what I have to sell. So it's more got to do with your willingness to adapt. So a lot of people are very rigid. So they're sitting there going, I have this product and I have this service, and that's all. I want to force it down people's throats, whether they have the money or not. And if they don't, then I'm just going to blame the economy. And if they do, then I'm an amazing entrepreneur. And it's just unfortunately not the way to look at life.
So let's get to, but since we are talking about, oh, sorry, let me just put off this.
Time to
Just
wake
give me
up.
a moment. No, it is my daughter's school alarm and it keeps going off. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about Facebook ads, because so obviously I teach people two things. I teach them to build a personal brand or to build an asset in a brand, because people do business with people, and Facebook ads. And it really works. Um, but then people would start sometimes, oh, it's not working, it's not working. But I think it's about understanding um, the whole method behind it. So in my case, and I know I sell an information product, so it's not always the same. But if we think about it, so people see me, they hear about me, the same with you, and then they see an ad. There's so many people that actually um, buy when I remarket to them, and that's actually where I want to get. So a lot of us try to get new people the whole time, but we forget about the relationships we have already started. We've already invested time in building relationship, and then using something like Facebook ads and email marketing to reach those people again. Because so many times we create a desire, because that's basically what we do. Unless we're a plumber or something like that, then people contact you when they've got a pain point right now. But most products is we create a desire, and a desire takes time for people to think and to understand that they need this product. And then we create the desire, but then we leave the person cold, and they go and find someone else, because now we created the desire. They weren't ready to buy just yet. And then someone else says, hey, I'm selling this. So they just have to do the sale. So a lot of the time, I think we are leaving money on the table, and we are going into the second, third quarter of the year. And I really think we have to go and look in our businesses and see where where are we leaving money on the table, instead of trying to get new people and feeling like the economy is pushing us. Where are you leaving money on the table in your own business? Where can you maybe go and say, okay, I've got this client list. Why don't I send out a special to them? Why don't I contact them again? And I think it adds to where we started the session, is just go back to the people you know what, there's another book. It's called Oversubscribed, and that book is about serving your current. Have you heard of that? It's by
Mm,
I've got
mm,
it
mm.
here. That is about serving your current audience, and I think that's quite a good strategy going into the next two quarters of the year. It's really going back and see who are these people who's been loyal to us, and how can we better serve them.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. I think one thing people need to understand is that marketing is extremely complex. You're dealing with so many different variables that's not necessarily always easy to control. And when I say that, I'm referring to one variable might be the technology that you use. Second variable would be the product that you're selling. The third variable would be the price that you're selling that product at. The fourth variable would be the value that that product actually provides. The fifth variable is like how are you actually selling that product, the art of the sale, right? Are you actually able to communicate the product and its value accordingly to the person on the other side? And I think when we think marketing, we see it as this linear process of I need to do marketing, then I'm going to get sales. And to some extent, that is one way to look at it, but it's not really a true reflection, considering that there's so much that you need to understand from a marketing perspective before you're going to get the sales. So a lot of people would boost a post on Facebook or even run ads on the back end of Facebook the way that we would advise them to, and still not see sales because now they're doing marketing and marketing is not helping. But then we neglect all the other variables. We neglect all these other dots essentially that needs to be connected and almost needs to fall in line in order for the strategy to work. And it's almost like getting all your sheep safe for the night, right? You need to make sure that you collect all of them and you need to align them and safely get them into the, what do you call it, a camp? What's the English word? I don't know. What's a kraal in
Kroll.
English? I don't know. What is a kraal? I don't know. My mind's
Guys,
put me
what
on
is a
that
kroll in English?
one. Long story short is like everything needs to align perfectly. And often, we only get one sheep through the through the gate, and then we assume that everything is fine. And it's no, it's not. There's all these other sheep you still need to go and collect, and before you can go and retire for the night. And I think if you can look at everything is all these different dots that you need to connect, all these different variables that you need to pay attention to, and you start paying attention to them one, by most important to least important, even though they're all important, things slowly start to change. So I think understanding that marketing is complex and it's not a linear thing is the first step, and being aware of that. The second step is then got to do with, okay, cool, what kind of product am I actually selling, and how can I ensure that my market understands the value of this product? And that's when you start to ask yourself, how can I position my product? How can I make my product seem appealing to the people that I'm selling it to? Because we automatically assume that if I'm going to put a product in front of someone, they are going to understand the value of that product. And that's just not true. That's ignorance, and you being very naive if you think that's going to be the case. So yes, you can put an iPhone in front of someone and someone will immediately know what the value of an iPhone is, because of the fact that, an iPhone has existed since 2000, what is it, 7 now already, 7 and 8 when the iPhone came out. It's existed for almost 20 odd years. And in essence, when you put it in front of someone, obviously they will understand the value of it. But your product is not necessarily an iPhone. Your product is something different. And there are many other products like yours on the market too. So the question is, how are you going to then get them to better understand how your product is unique, how it's different, and how can it better aid them in achieving their desires and overcome their specific pain points? And I think we completely neglect that. And I think a lot of people don't know how to sell. So I was speaking to Alita yesterday on the podcast, and, she was asking me, she actually asked me, how did you get into marketing? Or she said, like, I can't remember the exact question, but it basically boiled down to, being a successful entrepreneur. And I said, you know what? I don't see myself as an entrepreneur, actually. I don't think I'm a successful entrepreneur. I think I'm someone who really knows how to sell things well. Like, I know how to sell. Like, that's what I'm good at. I understand the art of selling. Like, I'm not an entrepreneur, someone I think that comes up with ideas and executes them, and like maybe sometimes even builds new products. And like my perspective of an entrepreneur is not me. I'm someone who knows how to sell stuff online. I know how to do that really well. And when I put on an entrepreneur hat, it makes me, in air quotes, there's no real term for success or real, definition of success, but I might be perceived as successful because I know how to sell stuff, but it doesn't make me necessarily a successful entrepreneur. So I think a lot of us are trying to be entrepreneurs, but you can't be a really good entrepreneur if you don't know how to sell your own product. And I think what has helped me a lot in my life is understanding how to sell myself and understanding how to sell the things that I'm attached to. So the things associated with myself. And I think understanding the psychology behind the art of a sale is the most crucial thing that anybody should learn. And if there's someone watching this right now and you're asking yourself, where do you start? You start by understanding the art of a sale, and everything else starts to fall in place then. Because then it's like, okay, I can use Facebook ads to sell my product. But if you're not going to understand the art of a sale, Facebook ads is not going to help you. If you're not going to understand the art of a sale, your website's not going to help you. If you don't understand the art of a sale, email marketing is not going to help you. So it's almost like everything comes back to really understanding the psychology of what makes a sale successful and what creates demand for your product and service. And when you've ticked that box, you can start to learn everything else. So it's like almost like the core fundamental pillar that you just cannot avoid. And I think most people are gravitating to Google ads and Facebook ads, and without really a true truly comprehending the power of understanding the art of a sale.
I think, Jandre, this is really so crucial. And it's something you also told me. Like, actually, I think this is a big shift. And I'm actually starting to shift here, because I think it is exactly what you say. We all think we are entrepreneurs, we are this, we make things for whatever. Actually, we are all in the business of selling. And this is what you also told me. And it's so profound if you can think. And I know, because like an artist says, yeah, but I don't like, but that is the thing. Like, until you make that switch, like, actually, you're not an artist. You're in the business of selling. You are not you're not an online store
Otherwise, you're going to be
owner.
a broke artist.
That
I mean,
let's just
you can
take a
still be an
moment
artist, but
here.
you can be a broke artist. So I
Yes.
think
Because
you
I'm a
can still really
coach,
qualify
but
yourself as an artist, but
yeah.
if you don't want to be a broke artist, you need to know how to sell. So the question is, do you want to be a successful artist or do you want to be a broke artist? Because a successful artist know how to sell their stuff. And it's easy to say, well, Van Gogh never sold these stuff. Well, he also died before these things because his
He
art became
died
valuable.
broke. Yeah.
He died broke. So it's like realizing that, there's obviously many different layers and nuances around that specific topic. But the reality is you can be an artist and you are in the artist industry, but you're going to be a broke artist if you don't know how to learn, if you don't learn how to sell stuff.
That is so remarkable. I think this is the top of this iceberg. We need to start to understand that we can't shy away from it. And especially now when people feel, cash strapped or whatever, we need to understand selling. So if you are in business and you can't sell, you are not in business. We need
Yeah.
to learn to sell.
Letitia is saying, so glad I'm attending the live. So true. We're all in the business of selling. Learn how to sell. Now,
Learn
the
how
reality
to
is that there are
sell.
people who are exceptionally good at selling, but they're very crappy at delivering the value of what they've sold. So
Mm,
understanding that you don't want to be a person that oversells yourself, and then you find yourself in a
mm,
situation where you actually are not delivering value to the people that you sold yourself
mm,
to. That's just a scam artist, to be honest with you.
mm,
Now,
mm,
in our industry, I think there's a lot of people who are selling services who might not be really 100% competent in delivering those services. And there might even be people watching this going, well, I've worked with V8 and they weren't necessarily as good as, I thought they would be too. And, that's just the reality of life. Things don't always work out the way that you want them to. We always try our best, essentially. But I think in hindsight, looking back, it's understanding that it's selling almost like with integrity, if that makes sense.
mm,
I think
mm,
understanding the art of a sale whilst maintaining your integrity behind what you're selling, because we have such a strict qualification process, and from people who work with V8 versus people who don't, and there are a lot of people who are willing to give us money, but we don't take their money because of the
mm,
fact that we don't think that they're going to benefit from our services. They think they are, but we run the risk of damaging our own brand if we say yes to them, because they're going to have certain expectations. And if we can't deliver on that, they're going to be very upset with us. So we'd say, hey, listen, we're really good at selling our product, but we can still choose who we're going to sell it to at the end of the day. And I think that's how we find the balance. Is like we create demand in the market. We are really good at selling our services, but at the same time, we just very picky with who we sell those services to, because of our own reputation. I don't want to be a company that
mm.
is seen in a negative light. And I think grateful for all our
Yeah.
clients and all our positive reviews and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's understanding that learning the art to sell, that could be seen as two ways, because you can easily now persuade someone to take your service, or you can manipulate someone into taking your service. And that is two different things. Persuasion is not
Mm,
manipulation. Persuading someone to better understand the value of your service, as long as the service is actually a benefit to them, and as long as you believe and you're true to yourself and you have integrity, knowing that that service is going to benefit them, continue persuading them. But if you know deep down that your product is actually not that great, and you know that this
mm,
person probably doesn't need it, but you're really hungry for the money that they have, to offer, then it becomes more manipulation. And that is obviously
mm,
more on the negative side of things. So a lot of people want to learn. They don't want to sell because it makes them feel sleazy, and it makes them feel like, yeah, but I don't want to be like seen as someone who's, sleazy and scammy. And okay, cool. There's ethical ways of selling. There is integral ways of selling. I don't know. Is that even a word? Integral? I don't know. You can sell with integrity. I'm making up my own words here as I go, apparently. I don't know. But you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say. It's like you can sell essentially the right way. And
mm,
at the end of the day, we should stop being so scared of selling our own products and
mm,
services. We should back ourselves. There's this guy, final sentence, a final thing I want to say is, there's this guy called Grant Cardone, and I think most people probably know him. And I listened to a podcast where he actually said one day, is like, when I know that someone is going to benefit from my service, and I'm almost 99% sure they're going to benefit from my service, I don't stop selling. That guy is going to become a client of mine. If it's not today, it's going to be tomorrow. If it's not going to be tomorrow, it's going to be next month, next year. Eventually, he will be a client. I will not stop selling to that person, and he will eventually buy my service. And the guy was like, but why are you so adamant? He goes, because by him not buying my service, he is doing a disservice to himself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think most of my followers and the people that work with me, the biggest problem here is not that they don't have a valuable product or service, but that they are really, what, like you say, scared of selling or scared of seeing themselves as that. It's exactly like an artist. They just want to paint a beautiful picture. But the difference that picture can make in the right house, in the right hotel, is so it can make such a big impact. But now, because we are scared of selling, we are scared of putting ourselves out there, even on social media, we are doing people a disservice, because your product or service can change their lives and their business, and it can change them. So I want to get to Mandy's question regarding email marketing. Guys, if you've got a question, put it there. So Mandy, I want to answer this question. I'm actually very excited. So it took me quite some time to really get my head around this when I started in the online world, because when we think of email marketing, we think of the olden days, like subscription newsletters. So email marketing is not that. Email marketing is literally a channel like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. The only difference is it's a channel that you own. It's not a channel that can go away. For instance, if we build our business on Facebook or Instagram, or we use that, it is very unreliable because they can change the algorithm, they can do whatever they can. But when you've got someone's email address or their phone number, when you can actually pick up the phone and call a customer, that is actually an asset that you have. You can call someone or you can email them. So yes, email marketing is still a thing. But the same with social media. You don't want to just sell on email. So you are going to have people whose emails you never open because it's only sales emails, versus people who actually give value. Like, for instance, I know, Jandre, you like to tell little stories. You give value, just like this live. We give value. We're not selling anything. We're just giving value. So if you use your email like that, and for me, it's extremely interesting to see how many people, they would get the email, they don't open it, but they know it's there. So in my business, for instance, I don't only rely on social media. So it's social media, it's email, it's traditional media. I mean, publications, television, things like that, because it's about that overarching strategy. Some people see you here, some people see you here. And remember, people has to see you so many times before they really register, or it's also creating that desire. So Jandre, you can also add your thoughts on email marketing, but Mandy, definitely tell us what your business is. But email marketing is maybe the missing link in your business, and it could bring in a lot of business.
Yeah, so I think email marketing, again, there's so many ways to look at it, because there might be people sitting here going, it doesn't work for me. There might be people going who are saying the complete opposite. And I think it's important to understand that nothing is really black and white. So what I mean by that is that, and I was having a chat to two team members of mine this morning, and I said, we need to understand that nothing really is linear. Nothing is black and white. Everything is gray. Everything is a mess of some sort that we need to figure out for ourselves. And what I mean with that is that it's the same with advice. No advice is really black and white. It's more, you need to take it, contextualize it for yourself, and see how it's going to fit in for your business and how you operate your business. Now, when we say, hey, listen, you need to look at email, it doesn't mean that if it's going to work for every single company out there, because there are some people sitting there with 10 subscribers who you can send emails to 10 people till you're blue in the face. You're not going to grow your business because it's only 10 people. And what I mean by that is, because emails is a numbers game, it's understanding that it only becomes impactful after a couple of hundred subscribers. it's important to, give that necessary context and say, look, email can be really powerful, but you also need to understand that if you don't have subscribers in your email list, your first step should be, how do I get more subscribers in my list? And if hypothetically, if you already had a decent amount of subscribers in your business, of people who want to hear from you, people who want to essentially buy from you, then that is where email can start to change the game for you in a way where, you could potentially be making an extra 5 to 10% of revenue without having to increase your marketing expenses, because an email subscription is technically fixed every single month, as opposed to a Facebook ad campaign that you have to put money, into. So it's understanding that email can be really impactful, but it's a numbers game at the end of the day. And what is also important is that a lot of people listening to this might not have enough subscribers to actually benefit from it. So this is why there's that saying that says all advice is bad advice, because it's never 100% contextual to every single human being. But if you have an e-commerce store, it is safe to assume if you're selling product online, I can tell you now, and even if you want to essentially build a service business that's focusing on the B2B side of things, then an email list is always beneficial. But the first step is, how do I actually get a decent sized email list of people who want to hear from me? And I think that is essentially what we need to understand, is how can we then leverage that email list and nurture that email list so that a percentage of those people can go, hey, I'm ready to sign on for your service. Hey, I want to start buying this product and see what it does for me. Or, hey, listen, I've had people in my email list who's been following us for 2 years, who's never given us a cent. And the one guy actually said to me, Jandre, I've been following your advice for the last 2 years. It's gotten us to 100K a month. I don't know what else to do. I think we're ready to take on your services. And my heart just was like almost like melted at the same time, because I was so happy for this person that he's gotten to where he was. But at the same time, I was like, this is exactly why we do what we do. Is it's not there to sell the service. It's more there to help other people. But should you benefit from us having a conversation and us potentially helping you in some way, shape, or form from a service perspective, then great.
Why there's no sound? They say there's no sound, but I can hear you.
I can hear you too, clearly.
We can hear each other.
Yeah. So yeah, I think long story short is, let's understand that no advice is black and white, no advice is linear. But in a macro sense,
sorry.
Can everybody hear me? I think they can hear me.
No, they say here they can't hear you. Can you guys hear me? And Mandy, I just checked out your stuff, and I'm going to give you some advice. So on Facebook, they can hear us. Can you guys hear us on Instagram? Can you hear both Jandre and myself? So Mandy says, I do digital art for baby blankets that I design myself. That's so sweet. Yeah. Sorry, Jandre, continue. Then I'll quickly get back to Mandy. I think
they can hear me now. Yeah. So
okay,
long story short, I think it's just understanding that no advice is black and white. No advice is really linear. It's how do we contextualize that advice to our own businesses? So when we say, hey, listen, email is extremely powerful, you first need to understand that it will only be powerful because it's a numbers game. It will only be powerful if you've got a decent amount of subscribers in your email list. So the question is, how do I get those people in my email list? So you need to, run some form of competition or giveaways or do some contests, or perhaps do some discounts that will allow you people to purchase your product for the first time, enter your email list, but because you then reselling to them on the back of that email list over the course of the next 2 weeks, 2 months, and so forth, there's a higher probability that they're going to continue buying from you, which will increase their lifetime value. I think people underestimate the power of email when it comes to increasing the lifetime value of a client. I think that's what it boils down to. But for us, who's a B2B service, I use my email a little bit differently. It's not there to increase my lifetime value, but it's there to build rapport and trust and credibility with the people who might not be ready to buy our services. Like I said, I don't know if people heard this, but we had someone who followed our advice and essentially then said, hey, listen, we've grown to 100K just by following your advice. Now we're ready to actually take things to the next level. So that is essentially what we need to be asking ourselves. How can we give people the necessary information they need in order to benefit their lives? And how can the product that we sell complement and synergize and be a catalyst to further growth or further benefits along the line?
I think to get back to Mandy, Mandy's got a beautiful business, Smash Kidswear, and she does digital art for that. So Mandy, how how I see it as well, it's exactly what Jandre is saying. It's sort of like just a puzzle piece. So maybe some people prefer email to social media. You know, some people don't like social media. Um, and also, what's interesting, the mindset we are in when we are on social media, we're just sort of chilling, relaxing. When we are in front of our email, a lot of us are more in work mode. So the way we perceive an email. So if you want someone to take action, and you post on social media, maybe you've got a sale or something, and you say, okay, I've got a sale, and you post it on social media. People are like, like they're not in the mode to take action. But it could be that when that same person receives an email, that could just be the prompt they needed. So it's also like that, you here, you there, you're in email. So it's just another opportunity. It's another channel to connect with your people. And when you look at your email as the same as a social media channel where you write, maybe you prefer writing to posting on social media. So it's also what works for you. The thing is, we shouldn't just dish email and just say no, because it could work very well for you and it could work very well for the person on the other side. You don't know what these people are like. So I know for myself, there are people that I follow that send out valuable emails to a podcast. So, for instance, Tim Ferriss, every Friday I get an email from him to his podcast. So I think I've opened about 10% of those emails, but I don't want to unsubscribe because I always check the heading. It's sort of that thing like, I get it in my mail, I don't open it, but it's always there. And I always see it. And then I remember, oh, I must listen to his podcast again. So only the 10% of times that I did open it was he didn't reach me on any other of his platforms, especially with the algorithm being extremely strict these days. Email is just another channel. It's just another way to communicate. And maybe it's something that you really like, and maybe it's something that your customers really like. And when you think of email the same way of social media, you give value, you chat, maybe you send people to a YouTube video or an Instagram. Maybe you make a really good Instagram post. This is something I sometimes do. And I know not everyone on my email list or on my Instagram. And I say, guys, you know what? If you want to know how to put on two-factor authentication, I actually made this video on Instagram and then I link the video, and then those people can say, oh, I want to know or I don't want to know, so it's just another channel.
100%. I mean, there's a lot to unpack again, but I think we've kind of like probably said what we had
There's
to say.
just one last thing for Mandy. Mandy, I don't see you on your page. I don't see you. I only see what you do.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge I'm putting out for Mandy.
What you're actually saying is, hey, are you a real human being? Can I trust you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. People do like doing business with people. And we had a little clip.
Mandy is saying, I know. Mandy, we want to see the person
Don't
behind.
Be scared. Don't be scared, girl.
Just go for it.
So yeah, it's understanding that people want to work with people. People trust people, right? It's how can you be a person to someone else that they can relate to, connect with, trust. Then selling product becomes a lot easier. Selling your product and service becomes a lot easier. Obviously, you don't want to maliciously just and connect with people just so that you can do that, because that becomes fake. But if you truly have authentic connection with your audience and you truly are there to try and help them, and it makes your heart warm when they see success based on the advice that you're giving, then people see that. People have like this bullshit meter in the back of their minds that will allow them to pick up when someone is fake and when they're not. And I think some bullshit meter is very sensitive and some probably not as much, but it's crucial that you essentially obviously are connecting with your audience for authentic reasons. And how I see it is that I give people, we give a ton of free advice because I love giving advice. I was a personal trainer and I couldn't stop teaching my clients on how to actually eat correctly and train themselves. And the one personal trainer came up to me, he's like, dude, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you teaching them how to do all of this themselves? They're just going to stop paying you and they're going to start doing it themselves. And I was like, bro, why are you so narrow-minded? Because you know what? The people I've actually been doing that to are the people who've been staying with me the longest. Because one, there's always new information coming out. Number two, but they also don't train with me because of the information. They train with me because they want accountability. So on the back of that, I think my perspective opened up even more, because it was like, the more value you can provide someone, and I'm not saying this is an over commercialized buzzword of value, but the more actual tangible value you can give someone that can actually make an impact on their lives, and the more your product can further complement their success after they've executed on those tips and received some form of value, that's essentially indicating how healthy your business will be. I think a lot of people's products just suck and they really don't have a great product or service. And therefore, they don't want to give away value for free, because it's like, if I give away my free value, then it's just as good as my product. So I'd rather not give away the value and try and sell the product. So in essence, your value, your product should always be, your product and service should always just be better than the actual value that you're providing. If it's better than the product, then that's also great. But it's really just realizing that, you're there to try and get people to the next level. And essentially the people who want to go behind that level is the people who might be interested in your product or service. And I think it's
I want to do something, Jandre. I don't know if you're going to agree. We've got another 5 minutes left. Who of you on Instagram, we can do this on Instagram only, not on Facebook, want to quickly join us? I think maybe Shonda, because she's got a Sean Design, or Bandy, or anyone else who says yes, they want to come up live with us. I'll send you an invite, and then we can have like a quick 2-minute discussion on your product. So Shonda is asking, Sean Design is asking, how do you show yourself? Let me know who wants to come in on Instagram with Jandre and me, and then we can quickly answer your question that you have. She's saying, let's say,
maybe we can
how
ask
do you
Sean
show yourself if you are an owner with a business partner in a big company without making it look like you are only thinking about yourself?
Well, what are we doing right now? Does it look like we're thinking about ourselves? If it does, then we need to reassess what we're doing. Because
Tabani, yeah. Let's invite Tabani.
Go for it.
Okay, Tabani. Okay, cool. I'm so happy.
Let me just reply to Sean. I think while you do that, I think she'll see. But you can continue doing what you're doing. I'm just going to reply to Sean. She says, "How do you show yourself as an owner with a business partner in a big company without making it look like you're only thinking about yourself?" So, Sean, we're 25 people. I consider that a decent sized company. So trying to understand where I'm coming from, I'm just sitting here providing people with information. I like sharing knowledge. It's my passion. It's really what I do. I enjoy that more than anything else. Like, I'm just joy talking about shit that I love, really. And at the end of the day, I think the people who listen and who actually become clients obviously pick up on that, and they can realize that I'm being authentic. So the question is, how can you do how can you take what I'm doing and contextualize it for yourself? So just putting yourself out there, taking short clips, videos, reels, Instagram posts, behind the scene. If you're scared about putting yourself on the spot with a video or a live, just take a photo of yourself, put it up on Instagram, and do a long little caption. And you can just, like, a lot of people do that. Like, maybe in the beginning you're a little bit not as confident, you're a little bit self-conscious. Take a photo of yourself or a lifestyle shot of yourself, and then put it on Instagram and just do like a long caption and see how people respond. But ideally, it's just about giving people some insight to your life, giving them some insight to who you are. What do you do? What's your personality? What do you like? What you don't like? I'm a massive PlayStation geek. Like, I only play one game, and that's FIFA. I've been playing it since I was 14, and I flip and love it. And I don't necessarily talk about that all the time, but when I do, there are people out there going, "Oh, I never knew that about Jandre. That's pretty cool." So it's really just getting personal with people. It's really social. Get social. Like, it's a social media platform for a reason. So get social with people.
Yeah, and also I'm trying to invite Tabani, but it says can't join. I don't know why. But also a request to join accept. Okay, let's quickly see. Why is it not working? So, yes, it's so important to understand that people don't buy, they buy into people. They want relationships. And now more than ever, the more online we are, the more relationship we are actually seeking out, and connection and community. And if
Yeah.
I can give like my very last tip, I'm sorry, man, Tabani, I can't seem to get you in. I don't know why. Would be to use your social media channels as a way to build connection and community, as a way to build for a place for people. For instance, Mandy, you working with moms, what else can you give them? How can you build that sense of community? It's sort of like you first build the sense of community and connection, and it's sort of like, oh, by the way, I also sell something, but it's about really understanding who are these people, what are their needs, what are their desires, what are their problems, what is what would they want to talk about. For instance, you can think of moms with new babies. They're so scared to breastfeed. Maybe, open a discussion around breastfeeding. Yeah, it brings
I
back
want
a
to.
memory of when I had a small baby and I was breastfeeding, and someone just, yeah, they were very upset with me. So it's things like, it's real stuff, and here I am, so anxious about this poor baby needs food, and here these old people are like, you can't breastfeed, and things like that, and just having someone else saying, you know what, we know how it feels.
Yeah. So true, man. I think from my perspective is if we're so scared to put ourselves out there. I think I got over my fear of putting myself out there probably in 2017. I started writing articles for a magazine. Hello.
There's Tabani. Tabani, how are you doing? I'm good.
I,
What?
you
Oh.
can't hear him because your sound is off. But he's saying he's good. I can hear you. How are you doing? I'm doing really well. Thank you, my friend. Any questions we can help you with today?
Do you two know each other?
No, I don't think we do. Do we?
So Tabani is actually he's actually an engineer of profession, but he's got a passion for people, and he also, yeah, Tabani. So maybe, do you have a question for Jandre?